We are Zoe
and Sirazul,
Standard B County Theatre's associate artists, and we are discussing
Unveiling Bradford's Rohingya community,
the untold stories of Sirazul Islam and 3 generations. Hello, Sirazul.
Hi, Zoe.
It sounds like women are a really important part of the Rohingya community.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this.
Very, very important part of our community, of the world in general, but especially our community, because the women do a very, very important job and a brilliant job of keeping us together, keeping us sustained, keeping us running, whether it's in the IDP camps in Burma and Myanmar, or the refugee camps in Bangladesh, or even in diaspora communities like here. It's women who make their brilliant arts of making food. You know, we have desserts, we have different types of making certain food, and I always think if it wasn't for the women teaching us and passing that knowledge to me and my brothers or to the other community, then we would forget how to eat Rohingya food, or we would forget how to make the Rohingya food. So yeah, women are a really, really important part. We traditionally see them as good advisors. Most Rohingya families lead a matriarchal family, including my own, where they sort of make all the decisions within the home. So it's very important.
So what's your favourite Rohingya food?
My favourite Rohingya food would be something called durus kura, which translates to roasted chicken. So it's a variation of a roast chicken, but it only comes out in special events. So we only have it in special events, when someone's getting married, when it's Eid, or when it's Ramadan, or when the son-in-laws or the daughter-in-laws of a family is going back or coming. I have 4 sisters, so they're all married, and then so when their husbands come, so we get to eat it a lot. So yeah, so that's why I like them.
And so do the women do all the cooking?
No, not necessarily. The women do better cooking, a lot better than the men. So we have a lot of Rohingya cooks, men who work in restaurants as chefs or tandoori chef, and in other forms. So men do a lot of the. Actually, I'll give you an example. So today, on Monday, the 24th of March, it's the 24th Ramadan. So in the evening, we are having a Ramadan iftar party, and this is organized and spearheaded entirely by the Rohingya men, who have taken upon themselves to do the entire cooking for the event. So that's cooking for over 200 people. So they'll all get together and they'll do it. And then quite similarly, a few months ago, we hosted a few families from London. So they're Rohingya families from London, and they came over to Bradford to visit us. So instead of us ordering, the men made all the food, but the women supervised. So that's the important part. The women supervised. But yeah.
Yeah, great. I love this. I love the women supervising and making all the decisions.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really important to the taste of the food.
Yeah. And how have the women contributed to the resilience of the Rohingya community and the integration of the community?
The women contributed to both the resilience and the integration of the Rohingya community in various forms, and it differs in the context we're talking about. So we'll speak about the diaspora community and then go on to the refugee camps. But in the diaspora community, their contributions start from storytelling within the home. So as I said, we have very matriarchal families where the women make it a point to teach the children about the traditions, the Rohingya culture, and pass that knowledge on. They'll pass Rohingya food on, they'll pass Rohingya dances on, songs on, so do all of these things. And then in the refugee camp, it goes beyond the storytelling, and it goes to them actually preserving the culture through going out to work for some of them, being able to do that job, to do some advocacy. So we have some brilliant Rohingya women advocates in refugee camps, and then they contribute again through focusing on the different aspects of life that men might know. And I know this conversation might seem like we're delving too much into gender differences, but it's really important because traditionally in the subcontinent we have had a very patriarchal society, and the women have recognized this in the last decade and a half, and they've taken it upon themselves to go into topics that men might ignore traditionally. So these are very, very simple things like menstrual cycles, and the women in the refugee camp make it a point to ensure that there's proper sanitation, to ensure that there's proper education for the Rohingya women, and to sort of advocate for them to build a life for themselves beyond the home. So that's something really, really important, and which I very much appreciate the women in the refugee camp for doing that, and sort of giving a voice to the traditional women who might not have had that previously.
Knowing all of this now, do you think you, as a male Rohingya, do you think you behave differently, and do you think you stand up to the standards of the women? Do you think you've learned from them, and you will sort of relate to female future generations in a different way because of the women in your community?
Yeah, absolutely, and 100% on that, because I have had the privilege of growing up in a house full of women. Like I said, I have four sisters, and they have children who, a lot of them are my nieces, so girls. So I quite naturally appreciate their contribution to society, their way of life, their way of talking, and their way of advocating. So knowing all of this, and then knowing and seeing this as I grow up, like I am, I guess would say a feminist, and it comes with great pride, because it means I get to help, or I get to advocate for people who are essentially my sisters, or would be my mothers. And then I always think, if I would want this for my sister or mother, then why wouldn't I do that for other people? Or I look at their situation and I think, if they're going through something, would I want my siblings or would I want my parents to go through that? So yeah, knowing all of this, and then also appreciating and seeing it work as well, I think it's really important, because the matter of the fact is, as we know, it works. You know, giving the voices to different parts of society, including the women in society, because they play such an important part of our life, and they can do some things a lot better than us. And whether that's talking about sanitations for the Rohingya women, or talking about the importance of mental health, it's women who started speaking about mental health in the refugee camp. And it's so important, because we as men, I guess traditional Rohingya men put up a very, very strong face, because they always think, despite the genocide and the persecution, they have to go out and work. They have to make something that for their family or for their future generation. And many of them don't know the struggles that they're facing, whether that's PTSD, depression, or mental health issues. But it's the women who point that out, and it's the women who have been working on that since.
Are there any support systems that come from the male Rohingya community for the women in Bradford who do all this work?
Oh yeah, and I am very appreciative to the men in the community for doing that in the first place, because I know how hard it is for a group of people to come from what they are used to and to then change in a different country. So we have let's talk about advocacy. When we make the point of including at least a woman in the advocacy that we do. We make a point of including at least a woman, not limited to one, but at least one, when we're going out to speak about different issues, because we recognize some issues or some discussions are better spearheaded by the women because they know more. And again, talking about mental health, so whenever we go and do advocacy, we always try and present the other perspective. We try and give representation to the people who are best placed to talk about those rights. Like it would be weird if we went out to speak or if we were to address Parliament and knowing that there are some brilliant women in Bradford, in the Bradford Rohingya community. We have lawyers, we have someone who's a cricketer, we have a sportswoman. For the men to speak on their behalf, it would be quite weird. So what we've recognized is that people are and should have equal rights, and we have been pushing for those women to come forward, because we also recognize that it might not be as easy for some. So we try and encourage them, we try and push them, and we try and sort of mold them from when they're younger. So right now we're working with girls who are 15 or 16 and trying to push them to come out and speak for Rohingyas and sort of give the platform that they traditionally might not have had.
And when you say it might not be as easy to them, is that because of the way society is structured? Is that because of the stereotypes? Why is it not easy for them?
As I said, we come from a subcontinent country where society has been structured in a way where it was patriarchal. There are certain connotations to men talking about mental health. There are certain connotations to, say, if a woman was taking a decision in front of other people. So to move away from what you've known for a long time to seeing the fruits and benefits of women doing that, it's a balance. And for them, when I say it was difficult, it is because of the way society was structured. But also now I think they see the benefits of all of this, and they see not even just the benefits but the importance of it, as I would like to put, which is it's a very, very big and fundamental part of their life now, and they see it.
When did the shift happen between the patriarchal running of the community to the matriarchal running of the community?
I would say within the last decade. So
wow,
yeah, even very recent, even as late as say 2016, 17, and the reason is because, like, sometimes life gives you opportunities to do things a certain way. And when the genocide in 2017 happened, it was such a large scale of events where for us gender did not matter anymore. We needed as much support as we could get. People were dying every single day. Over 750,000 people were expelled from their homes, where their homes were burned. My cousin, he was shot and he was only 7. Other children were shot dead, and for that, when these things were happening, I think the conversations go beyond gender. And then once it goes beyond gender, and then you think, oh wait a minute, all the way we've done things all this time wasn't right. And then it gave them that perspective and that shift in that opportunity.
This is amazing to hear, particularly in a world where women are still being treated as not equal. They're paid less, they're being expected to do different things. It's incredible to know. It gives me hope to know that this is happening right now, and that women are being put in the center of in the heart of families and are recognized for what they can do. Yeah,
and it's I have the benefit of being in Bradford, where these conversations need to take place, and we are making our efforts beyond the Rohingya community and into the Bradford community to make these conversations happen, whether it's at workplace or in school, looking at the importance of feminism. I did sociology as an A-level, and talking about these topics, talking about these aspects were really, really important. And I did my A-levels in 2017, in and around the time when the genocide was happening, and then these conversations were taking place in school, they were taking place at home, and then they were taking place in the refugee camp. And then beyond the Rohingya women, we're looking at the Bradfordians, the Bradford women, and these conversations keep taking place, and it's amazing to see. And like you said, there are many more things to be done, and there are many more things to be strived for. But it is a start, and me as a person, and I like to call myself 17 years old purely because it's been 17 years since I came to the UK, and I feel like I was reborn. But in that limited time, I've seen a lot of changes and progress that's happened. Like I see powerful women, including yourself, sat right next to me on all the work you're doing. But also, like, my manager at work is a woman. A lot of my teachers were women, so I had a lot of women role models at home and outside.
Amazing. Well, something that we can all learn from.
I hope so.
Thank you, Sirazul, for sharing your stories, your dreams, your hopes, your reality, your advocacy, your actions, everything.
Thank you, Zoe. I think you've asked some brilliant questions and thought-provoking questions as well. And I hope the audience takes something away from this. If nothing, then the fact or the importance of identity, but also the importance of giving an opportunity to a community who has been refused for far too long. And thank you to all the people who have made this happen, to Bradford Made, to City of Culture, and to SBC, more importantly. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
यार आनेर खुशबू तुम्हार दिले ढाके ले तुम्हारे ओ जा